Namaskar and welcome to day 11 of our journey. So, as we begin on the spiritual path, it is important for us to cultivate solitude and be alone and focus on our spiritual practice, on the Nam Jap, on the Prarthana, on the Kritagnyata. So, to do all these things, we need some time for ourselves and we have to uh, find that time and do it. Now, along with this, what seems quite the opposite kind of activity also is required, which is called as satsang. So the word satsang is why I said it is opposite is because it is a sang or it is a collection or it is joining or meeting of other people. But the essential difference here is that you're meeting people so that you can keep your mind on sat or on the truth or on spiritual practice. Okay, so when we say satsang, it is any kind of an environment which will foster our spiritual progress, which is going to be conducive for us to do spiritual practice. Any kind of an environment where we will be thinking of God, we will be remembering God, we will be learning about God, and we will learn all those things which take us towards a more positive direction in our life. And that is why satsang is important. Now, what will happen is that as you start doing spiritual practice, you need some kind of a support system which will encourage you to practice and do it more and more. Now, the whole purpose of doing this spiritual group, making this group and all, what was the reason for it? Why as it is, I was already doing my spiritual practice, I could have continued. But why did I make a group? Why did we have all the people getting joined into this group and all that? Because whenever we do something collectively, it gives strength to our purpose, it gives strength to our activities that we are doing, it encourages us and makes sure that we don't drop off somewhere. No, so when you do spiritual activities together, then not only your faith becomes stronger, but also your effort becomes more consistent. If you have to start something and do it by yourself, you will do for some days. After some days, there is every chance that you may give up. In fact, many people in this world, they start so many activities, whether it's a hobby, whether it is something to improve themselves, whether it is spiritual practice. The finalists club is very small, right? So if you want to have consistency, you need to have somebody else along with you who will keep telling you that do this, do that, you have to push yourself, come on, we will do it, like that. So satsang gives us that kind of a push which we require. And by being in satsang, we are going to keep our minds constantly centered on God. And what will happen is, as a result of thinking about Sat all the time, slowly you start developing the attitude of what is really important for me in this life, what should I be focusing on, what doesn't matter, what I can let go of. Your thoughts will move in that direction, and slowly you will learn to practice little detachment. Now, detachment doesn't mean that you give up affection for people. We should continue to love the people and feel affection for them. But our attachment to them, the sentiment of, clinging to somebody or to something to give yourself completeness, that feeling should go gradually. Now, we know in the in the Bhaja Govindam, Adi Shankaracharya's one shloka is very famous. Satsangatve nissangatvam, nissangatve nirmohatvam, nirmohatve nischalatatvam, nischalatatve jivan muktihi. So from satsang, we will go to a stage of nissang. From being in the company of people who are devotees, who are bhaktas, you will go into a stage where you get to non-attachment or a sense of detachment. From nissanga, from having no attachment, what will happen is slowly all your delusions, all your thoughts about Maya, all your thoughts about these worldly things will start reducing. So nissangatve nirmohatvam. Nirmohatve nischalatatvam. So when your delusions and your attachments all drop away from you gradually, your mind will become pure, it will become tranquil, it will become calm. And from that stage, you will get Jivan Mukti. Nischala Tattve Jivan Mukti. So If you want to reach the ultimate stage of mukti, if you want to reach that final status, then it is important. The first step that you have to do is to cultivate satsang. And wherever there is satsang, wherever people are chanting God's name, wherever people are thinking of God, wherever you are doing kirtan of God, at those places, God is actually present. His energy is there in those places. It is said that Lord Vishnu, there is one another shloka which is told. Lord Vishnu, Hari, says to Narada, Naham vasami vaikunthe, yoginam hridaye nacha, madbhakta yatra gayanti, tatra tishtami naradaha. So I don't stay in Vaikuntha, nor do I stay in the hearts of the yogis. Wherever my bhaktas are chanting my name, in that place, there with them I stay, Narada, he says. So, whenever we sing the glories of God, whenever we do bhajan, kirtan, whenever we chant God's name, then please remember that God is there with you in that place. And if you do it together, it will add to your spiritual effort. It will make it easier for you to follow ahead. Many times when we say that we are doing some sadhana, then everybody around us will say that they want us to change, very fast. You're doing so much, and what is the difference? Nothing has changed in you. People make comments like that. So if we are in satsang, all these kind of comments will not bother us. If we are in satsang, although we may feel low when other people say things to us, when we come back to the satsang, then we have this feeling that yes, it is okay, I will do slowly, I will go ahead. It encourages you to continue to put in your efforts that are important. But one more thing that we must be alert is, many times we turn this turn this satsanga into some kind of a hobby. Just like some people watch movies, some people go to the pub, some people go out traveling. Like that, some people go to satsang. So it is not a hobby. Satsang cannot be a hobby. A hobby is something that you do when you have free time. A hobby is something that you do to pass your time. A hobby is something that you do because you like it, and if you don't get time or you feel that okay, I don't want to do this, you will stop doing it. But being in satsang is not like that. So we must remember what is the importance of satsang and keep doing it. Now, what is the meaning of satsang? How will you get satsang? By being in the company of people who are talking about God. So if there is a spiritual organization who is arranging a satsang where they are giving some pravachan, or they are telling something about God, or there is chanting going on, or there is bhajan going on, all these are places where satsang is found. If you decide that okay, you can't do all those things by going to some place, and now in times of COVID we are not able to go, then there are virtual groups, there are meetings over Zoom and other such media and platforms. You can try and find something like that and attend that. If not, the simplest thing you can do, fix up a time every day when you will sit with either alone or with some family member who is interested, or with a neighbor or somebody, or alone itself, to sing bhajans or to do nam jap, or even to read something which takes you in the direction of sat. If you decide to study the Bhagavad Gita and learn from that, or you decide some other stotra you are going to chant, then wherever you are doing that smarana of God's name and of God's glories, that is your satsanga. So doing this is important because it will keep us constantly on the path of spiritual practice. So today the activity that we can do is twofold. First thing is, we have to make a list of who are the people in whose companies we feel encouraged, or we feel uh, our mind centered on God. Are there people like this in our life? If not, we must find them. If they are there, we must try and cultivate more contact with such people. And when you talk also with them, talk about Sat, talk about Sadhana, talk about God, talk about some Bhakta's story. Try and make it a mutually beneficial effect so that both of you will together progress in sadhana. If you have many people like this, form a group, get into an activity together. Say that okay, every day we will read one shloka from the Bhagavad Gita and discuss its meaning, or every day one person will tell one story about some bhakta, and we will try to develop that same quality of bhakti. Or we will get together and do nam jap, or we will get together and do prarthana, bhajan, kirtan, something like that. So make a list of people who give you satsang and try and do some activity along with them. Make a conscious effort to associate with such people, and try to keep away from people who pull you down into negativity. Okay? The second thing you can do is, if there is no such option available to you, or if you feel that it is too much strenuous and you can't really devote time to that, then you decide that any one of our scriptures or any stotra, I will spend 15 minutes or 10 minutes every day in learning this, or I will spend 10 minutes in reading the Bhagavad Gita and trying to understand the meaning. So this can be your variety of satsang. So whichever is feasible for you. If both, then well and good, very good. But if not, at least one of these, you please spend some time today thinking about this and try to form for yourself a satsang which will take you further on the spiritual path. So I hope that Krishna will guide us with ideas about how to do this and help us to continue with our spiritual practice.